Atenção para o toque de 5 segundos para mais uma transmissão ao vivo.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Spirit Tongues. We are happily here together to discuss the Gospel according to Spiritism. And we reflect here chapter by chapter in 4 languages: Portuguese, English, Spanish, and French. And today we're going to talk about a very challenging teaching in the Gospel. That is, what is the true intention behind the good that we do? So, to begin, let's listen to the words of Jesus himself. They are in Matthew chapter 6, verse 1 to 4. Be careful not to practice your righteousness in front of others to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. So when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and on the streets, to be honored by others. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets. Do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. So, my friends, whenever I read this passage, one thing stands out to me is that many times after Jesus heals someone, he would say, "Go, but do not tell anyone." So we see that for the Christ, it was never about announcing the acts of charity. What really mattered was the intention, what was in the heart. So Jesus was not concerned at all with recognition that came from the good that he was doing. So he was concerned about the purity of heart, about doing good. And about this, the Gospel according to Spiritism makes a very powerful statement. This is, those who prefer the approval of man to the approval of God show that they place more faith in people than in the divine. So in other words, if I am desperately in need of other people's approvals, perhaps I'm placing more trust in human applause than in what God thinks of me. And that leads us to a question, that is, what is really behind my good deeds? Because sometimes the action looks beautiful, but the intention behind it is not. So the gospel also tells us that there are people that only help others in hope that the person who received will go around telling everyone about it. And there are people who make generous donations also in public, or they want to share it on social media, but in private maybe they wouldn't be willing to give even a small amount. So we see that happening, right, in companies, as business owners, organizations. So many people support charitable causes. They launch campaigns, post videos about the social work, but the question is that the gospel isn't asking whether sharing this publicly is right or wrong, but the question is much deeper, is what is behind our actions? Because maybe you'll be thinking right now, oh, but you share a lot about charity, right? I do share a lot about my trips, Africa, pictures and everything, videos with the children, with the mother. And is it wrong to share what we do? So I think the answer would be it depends. It depends on what are our intentions. That intentions that only God knows. Because the very same action can come from completely different motivations. So I might post something online because I want people to see me as a good person. I want to sell a good image. Like I want to post to feel my pride. And I might also post because I want compliments or because I'm desperately seeking for validation. But I might also post because I want to inspire other people. I want to inspire people to serve. I want to bring attention to a reality that needs to be seen, that needs help, and that could use everybody's help. And I want to awaken compassion in other people. I want to encourage more people to reach out to help. So you see that there's a difference in the intention. And the problem is never what you post, and the question is what is in your heart. So Jesus said they have received their reward in full. So if you post and you want people's approval, you already had your reward, right? Because you had the likes, you had the compliments, you had the human praise, and that's the reward. That if that's what you're looking for, then the reward is already there. And God, that's not what He cares about. Like when we do good with genuine selfishness, we no longer depend on the external validation. So when our concern is to do things right, is to bring something good to someone that is suffering, then we will definitely please God, because we do good simply for the joy of doing so. And another beautiful lesson that is in the Gospel according to Spiritism is that charity has no religion. So you think about any situation. Imagine that your house was just caught in fire, or a family member is suddenly ill, or your car breaks in the middle of nowhere and you need help, or you lost everything in a flood. And if someone comes to help you, if someone comes to comfort you, would you actually care about their religion, or would you actually care about political views? Of course not. You simply accept this. And that's exactly what St. Louis wrote. A true Christian sees brothers and sisters in every human being. So before helping someone in need, we would never ask what are these people believe. So we simply help because we are all children of God. And in fact, St. Louis asks a very profound question. How can we love our enemies as Jesus taught us if we refuse to help someone simply because they believe differently than we do? So charity brings people together, doesn't divide them. And another important lesson is what happens when we believe we don't have enough resources to help others. And who didn't ever think of this? Like, maybe you thought, I wish I could do more. I don't have any money. Like, I cannot help more. And then Jesus tells a story of a widow that is offering at the temple. And while many healthy people were putting a large amount of money into the temple treasury, this poor woman came and she had only two small coins. And Jesus said that she had given more than everyone else. And the apostles were like, why? She just gave 2 coins, right? But she gave out what she needed herself. So that meant so much for God, right? Then the gospel invites us for this reflection that is very deep. Like, if we have a lot of money, would we really be as generous as we imagine? Like, if we won the lottery, would we immediately use it to help others to buy food for needs, or would we actually first spend it on ourselves and our dreams and then donate only what was left over? So probably we would start with the second one, right? And that's an important question, because God doesn't measure the size of the gift. He's not caring about how much we are giving, but how much it means. So he's actually looking at what's behind it. And I'd like to finish by reminding you of something that warms the heart, is that charity can be many, many things. So charity can be these 2 small coins, charity can be a smile, charity can be a conversation, can be when you truly listen to someone who needs to talk. It can be a prayer or a word of encouragement, visiting someone who feels lonely, or a hug. So there are many, many ways of doing charity. So we cannot say, oh, I cannot do charity because I don't have much, I don't have money or anything, because there are many ways to do it. As the gospel says, anyone who sincerely desires to be useful to their brothers and sisters will find countless opportunities to do so. So there are 1,000 different ways every single day, anywhere. And maybe the hardest charity is the moral one, is when we be patient with others, is when we understand how to listen, and we keep our pride under control. And this is sometimes even harder than donating material things, right? So this is actually the charity that makes great transformations in our souls. And true charity is born when no one is watching. So God sees what is in the secret, in your heart. He knows exactly what is in our hearts. And my friends, we have come to the end of today's episode, reflecting on chapter 13 of the Gospel according to Spiritism, learning how God doesn't look at what is at the outside, but what is our intention with what we do. So thank you very much for being here. And next week we will be reflecting on the same chapter but in French. And now we will start our moment of prayer. And if you like, you can place your water nearby, so that is blessed by these spiritually friends that love us. And let us close our eyes, take a deep breath, and together connect with God. Thank you very much for being here. Jesus, thank you for the profound lessons that have touched our hearts today. Help us to do good without seeking applause. Teach us to love in silence, to serve without expecting recognition, and to find joy simply in being instruments of love. May our identity be firmly rooted in you, and not in the approval of others. May we never seek validations for our acts of charity. Show us the small opportunities that appear each day: a smile, a word of hope, a hug, a prayer, an act of patience, listening. May we never believe that we need to have much in order to make a difference. Just as the poor widow offered her 2 small coins, teach us to offer what is most precious, a heart that is willing to love. And may we leave today's reflection with only one desire:
to bring joy to your heart. Stay with us today, tomorrow, and always. So be it.
Não esqueça de curtir o vídeo, se inscrever no canal e ativar as notificações.